All right, in this video, I'm going to go through the 6/8 Region 2 bass audition. I'm going to go straight through the excerpts, give some advice, play it slowly, play it quickly. So this G major scale, I like a fingering that in the end, F sharp is 2 and G is 3. That gives me the ability to play the G closed and not as a harmonic if I choose to. So I'm going to work backwards with my fingering. So if my G is 3, F2, that means that E is 4, D is 1, C is 4, B is 1, or I'm sorry, B is 2, and then I come back to first position. So down the G string. And you can play the open G there. If you're feeling a little more advanced about it, instead of playing the open G, as you're coming up the D string, you can go to second position, F sharp, G, and then come to first position for your A. So here we go, the G major scale with my preferred fingering. Shift, shift, okay. Our F not major scale, chromatic scale, this always has shifts on first finger from half position to first. So our first one, F to F sharp. Next one is A sharp / B flat to B natural. And then we've got, we actually don't have to shift on the D string because we're stopping on an F natural. We can do that in half position. So, half shift, shift during your open, shift, and then on the way down, what I prefer is, as I've gone from first position back to half position, instead of going 1-1, I like going 4-4. It's just better for your overall hand shape. So one more time, full-ish speed. 1-1 shifts on the way up, 4-4 shifts on the way down. All right, moving on to our etude. Start this in third position. There are some challenging shifts to be concerned with in this. So I'm going to go through slowly and show my solutions. Second and a half. Fourth. Come across for B. Back to third position. First. I'm going to go to second position while I'm playing that open E. Because what I really don't like hearing in auditions and what I don't like hearing from myself is open A, G sharp, open A again. If you've gotten your G sharp even a little bit out of tune, it sounds really out of tune when you put it up next to an open string like that. So by playing the fourth finger A, you increase your chances of playing the G sharp in tune, and you avoid a string crossing at a relatively quick tempo. Open, half, first, I use a little pivot Now this is where you make all the money as a bass player, is this little half-step pivot, B, baby shift, / pivot, to C sharp, fourth finger D, second finger C. Back to first, up the D string. So that right there. You're probably thinking it's easier to go, but if you do that and you go over to the G string, what you've done is you did have to shift. You shifted from first to half position, and you had a string crossing. So if you're going to be shifting anyways, I prefer to make the shift up a single string where we get a nice consistent sound throughout. And I really like doing this chromatic scale on one string. A, G sharp, G, F sharp, F natural, E. Okay, I think that makes the sound really even and clear. All right, so here I go at tempo. 1, 2, ready, and... All right, there you go. You might have noticed I changed the fingering slightly in the second measure. Sometimes I will do that. It doesn't matter. Okay, first excerpt, Soldier's Joy. I like to use a consistent-ish fingering throughout this. I really am trying to avoid some of these open strings. Now, if you're in the 6th grade and you're working on this material, it's okay. Play the open strings. But if you're in 8th grade, you know, you're really trying to make the most of this. I really encourage you to make these shifts that get you in different positions. All right, so I'm starting here in 2nd and a half position. Okay, it's just one baby shift, and for you theory nerds out there, this is a major arpeggio, and this is a fingering that you can use for any major arpeggio. 2, 1, half step shift 4. Okay, so we are going to use a very similar one for the next measure. Shift. I really like going up the D string in measure 88 for consistency of sound, and it makes it to where when I go from A to A, I'm just going one string over instead of going bum, 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 this big motion with my right arm. Okay, so starting the second line. 3rd. Open. Now you'll notice in the measure before G, in the second line, I go 1, 2, C sharp, D. That's setting me up to restart the pattern at G because that is exactly the same as what we did at F. Now, when I get to measure 98, I have options, and that's the last line of this excerpt. I can again go to 2, or I can go to 4 because I've got a little bit longer that I'm spending on that D. If I go 4 on D, F sharp is 2, and then I go to 3rd. If I go 2 on D, F sharp is 1. does not matter which one you pick. You just have to be consistent. Okay, so excerpt 1, full speed. 1, 2, ready, and... All right, that's all there is to it. Sorry I made up a couple fingerings along the way. I do that, but I've given you what is my favorite thing. Okay, so excerpt number 3. I'm sorry, this is excerpt number 2. It's just labeled as number 3. So we have some similar rhythmic things. Rhythm is going to be a big concern with this one. So we want to make sure we've got this rhythm first. And so this is one that I want to start at the tempo. This is about the tempo. Bop, 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 ba-ga-da-ga-da. Bop, 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 ba-ga-da-ga-da. Bop, 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 ba-ga-da-ga-da. Bop, 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 ba-ga-da-ga-da. So when we have this rhythm, this occurs all the time, is where you have an eighth note at the beginning of the measure. Sometimes it's a quarter note, but then there's it's 3 eighth note duration before the next one. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So if you're counting this in your head, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's fine. But what's more appropriate is if you're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. It's got a much better groove, and it's going to make you accent things correctly. Bop, 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 bop. Okay, so that's every other measure that has that rhythm. And then we've got the same rhythm that occurs in the other measures. Digga-digga-da, bop, 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 digga-digga-da, da-da-da, digga-digga-da, ba-da-da. So getting those rhythms in your head before you start working on this is really, really useful. Don't practice wrong rhythms. Okay, I like to start this excerpt in second position. You can stay in second position until the end of measure 60, in which you have to come back to first for that E, but then I go right back to second. Okay, so that gets us through the first little chunk of it. I made a mistake at the beginning. That mistake was playing the first note as an arco. It marks arco for the second note, which even though you don't see pizzicato marked, it's implied. All right? So the beginning should have been... Notice how short I'm keeping the notes in this passage. We are fulfilling a rhythmic role during this excerpt. So you have to be really steady. You have to be really clear with your rhythm because you're helping drive everything forward. It will really negatively impact your audition if you go in and you play things too long. Okay? All right. The last line, this is a different rhythm to worry about. Bum 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 ba 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 bum bum. Getting these ties off of the beat, off of beat 1, you just have to feel that steady pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 da da, 1 da da, 1 and 2. Okay. All right. Here I go with the last line. Now, in the second to last measure, we also have one of those same things, but off of beat 3. So memorizing that rhythm, having the rhythm really stable in your mind before you start playing will make a massive difference. All right, playing straight through the excerpt. All right, there's a variety of different fingerings that are going to work when you're playing the half notes in the middle of this. Just know that the people that are in the front of the regions section will have found a way to put vibrato on most, if not all, of those notes. Hopefully this was helpful. Good luck.